Shalom TikTok. Um, as I continuously see the judgments that pour out against the nations, um, I'm not gonna act like it doesn't, do something to me to see these things happen. I hate seeing, especially like for instance with the thing that with the atrocities that are going on, and for instance like with Gaza and things like that. But I have to say what was placed on my mind. When are you gonna realize that the scriptures are true to this nation and to other nations? And this nation hasn't felt it as in that instance yet, but they will. To all these nations, do you think the scriptures was lying? Matter of fact, do you think Yahuwah was lying? The Most High, the Elohim of Yasharel. Do you think he was lying when he says, I will do unto you and your children, and your families, your people, what you've done to my people? Do you think he was lying? Do you think that do you still think that was a fable? I say that because even though the things that we're seeing are harsh, the reality of it all is that the Elohim of Yasharel is here. And he is coming to gather his people. But before he gathers his people, this is what he told Abraham. I said it before. Listen to me. This is what he told Abraham. He says, after the 400 years sentence is up, I will first bring judgment upon the nations that oppress them, and then I'll bring them out. So when you look at what these nations have done to our people, to the true Yahudim, to the true to who Yasharel really is, not to those Rev 29s, the imposters that are inhabiting the land now, but to those that have been scattered to the four corners of the earth. When we see the atrocities that are happening in places like Gaza now, and even things that are stirring up and we have not yet seen, Scripture, Yahuwah told Ezra, says that the same thing that you've done to my people, I will repay you and do the same to you. And so when you look at the history of these nations, Psalms, I believe it's Psalms 83 or 84, one of them, that says these nations conspired together. They were confederate with each other. They conspired to destroy Yasharel as a people. There was no mercy shown to Yasharel, to the so-called African Americans. There was no mercy shown through your forefathers for what they did to Yah's people. And that the things that continuously happen today, it may not be as physical as it was in the days of old, but the oppression is still much against Yah's people. And so many things that even we didn't learn in school, because you are the one that educated us. You educated us. You told us what you wanted us to know about the history, about slavery. But now receipts are being pulled now, and now we're starting to learn things that we didn't even learn in school about what your forefathers, these sick and twisted individuals, conjured up and did to Yasharel, to Yah's people. Do you think that you're just gonna walk away and not pay for it? Well, we didn't do any. We had nothing to do with what our forefathers did, and neither did we. But the scripture says that the descendants of the forefathers would suffer because of that scripture. You will suffer for what your forefathers have done, because you reap the benefits of what they done. Oh, you try to hide your hands and say my hands are clean because we didn't do what our forefathers did, but you're enjoying the luxuries that come from what they did. All the stolen land. The same things we're hollering about that we're seeing online. Listen to this. We're looking at the atrocities that are happening in other nations like Gaza, and we're saying, oh, look at all this. Look at this. But this is the same thing that your forefathers did to Yasharel. The exact same thing. And worse. Matter of fact, I'm sorry, worse. Worse. And so your forefathers stole land. The same thing you're complaining about what they're doing over in Gaza, trying to occupy, take the land. Murder, genocide. That's what you were aiming to do. That's what the scripture says. They gathered together to try to, they became confederate and conspired to try to destroy Yasharel. If they could have had it their way, they would have. But because the scriptures is true and Yahuwah's words never return to him void, he said that he would not allow us to be destroyed utterly. But if you could have, these nations could have had it their way, they would have completely destroyed us. But now there's an Elohim that says, I know where my people are. We may not know who we are. A lot of our people may be lost and not understand who they are, but there's an Elohim that says, I've always known where they were. They may have been misplaced and not know who they were within themselves, but I always knew where they were. And yes, I had to punish them. They were punished because like we said, my word it doesn't return true. So if he did these things to his very own people in the midst of disobedience, what do you think he's going to do to you wicked nations that have tried to destroy his people? You stole land. You built the foundations that this nation stands on is that of blood. That's why the scripture says that their souls still constantly crying out, how long, how much longer until you avenge us? The very fabrics of the flag that you fly so proudly in the air, the statues that you honor, you don't want to take the responsibility of what your forefathers did, but you parade around their statues and you set up monuments in honor of them, but then you try to hide your hands and say, well, I didn't do what they did. It's no need to be passive about this no more, because the truth is here. And to these nations, the Elohim of Yasharel, this is my last thing saying before I get off. I believe honestly within myself, the reason why Yahuwah told Abraham that he was gonna, when the 400 year sentence was up, that first he was gonna bring judgments on the nations before he gathered us out. I believe the reason for that is because Yahuwah is gonna show these nations that the people that you thought you had control over and that you looked at as nothing, I'm going to show you that there's an Elohim that truly cares for them. And he did it, and I believe he did it to also show us that have been oppressed and that have lost hope and that have just just lost complete hope because of oppression, to show them that, hey, there is an Elohim that comes, just like he did with Moses. He says, I hear the cry. I've heard the cry of my people. And now I'm sending you, Moses, because I'm ready to go get them. So to the nations, the people that you have oppressed, your forefathers and you yourselves have oppressed, I want you to know, no matter what you believe, you can laugh and you can disregard it, but the Elohim of our people is here. And he's here to bring us out. But before he brings us out, he will bring judgment upon these nations.